Hi everyone, I hope you are great. What if I told you your emotions are not your enemy, but the way you obey them is destroying your future? Every time you react instantly, every time you argue without thinking, every time you let anger, sadness, jealousy, or fear control your decisions, you lose power. Emotion is natural, but emotional weakness is trained. And today, you're going to learn how to stop being emotional, not by becoming cold, but by becoming mentally dangerous. Because calm people win. And if you stay till the end, you will learn the 5 psychological shifts that turn emotional people into unstoppable ones. Emotional people react. Strong people respond. Listen carefully. There is a difference between reacting and responding, and that difference decides your entire life. When someone disrespects you, when something doesn't go your way, when life punches you unexpectedly, most people react. They explode. They argue. They post emotional statuses. They send long, angry messages. They make decisions they regret. Why? Because reaction is automatic. It comes from the oldest part of your brain, the survival system. Psychologists call it the fight or flight response. That system was designed to protect you from lions, not from comments. But today, your brain reacts to words the same way it reacts to danger. Someone criticizes you, your brain says, attack. Someone ignores you, your brain says, defend your ego. Someone succeeds more than you, your brain says, feel threatened. And before you even think, you react. But strong people, they respond. And that is power. Response comes from the higher part of your brain, the prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for logic, control, strategy, long-term thinking. Reaction is emotional. Response is intentional. Reaction is instant. Response is controlled. Reaction feels powerful for a moment. Response creates power for a lifetime. Let me tell you something most people don't realize. When you react emotionally, you give control of your behavior to someone else. If someone can make you angry easily, they control you. If someone can hurt you with words, they control you. If someone can ruin your entire day with one comment, they control your peace. And a controlled mind can never build a powerful life. Think about the calmest person you know, the one who doesn't argue, the one who stays silent when others shout, the one who smiles instead of reacting. People think they are weak, but they are not weak. They are disciplined. They understand something most people don't. Emotional control is social dominance. When you don't react, you make others uncomfortable. When you stay calm, you win the psychological battle. Because calm people think clearly, and clear thinkers make better decisions. Let me give you a simple psychological truth. Emotion rises like a wave. If you immediately act on it, you drown in it. But if you wait, the wave falls. Every emotion has a lifespan. Anger spikes and fades. Embarrassment spikes and fades. Jealousy spikes and fades. But when you react instantly, you turn a temporary emotion into a permanent consequence. A broken relationship, a lost opportunity, a damaged reputation. All because you couldn't wait 10 seconds. From today, I want you to practice one rule. Pause. When you feel triggered, pause. When you feel angry, pause. When you feel disrespected, pause. Silence is not weakness. It is control under construction. You don't have to prove yourself in every argument. You don't have to respond to every message. You don't have to win every battle. Because strong people choose their battles. Weak people fight everything. Here's the shift. Instead of asking, "Why did they say that?" ask, "How do I want to respond as the person I'm becoming?" That question alone separates emotional boys from disciplined leaders. Because the goal isn't to kill your emotions. The goal is to lead them. You are not your anger. You are not your sadness. You are not your jealousy. You are the one observing them. And once you realize that, you stop reacting. You start responding. And the moment you start responding instead of reacting, you take your power back. Your feelings are not facts. Let me say something that might hurt your ego a little. Just because you feel something doesn't mean it's true. Read that again. Your emotions are powerful. They feel real. They feel urgent. They feel convincing. But they are not facts. And this is where emotional people lose control of their lives. Imagine this. Someone doesn't reply to your message. Immediately your mind says, "They're ignoring me. They don't respect me. They don't care." Your chest tightens. Your mood changes. Your energy drops. But what actually happened? Nothing. Just silence. Yet your brain created a full emotional story. This is called cognitive distortion, a psychological pattern where your brain lies to you in a very believable way. Your mind is not always your friend. Sometimes it's a storyteller, and emotional people believe every story it tells. Here are the most dangerous mental traps. 1. Mind reading. You assume you know what others think about you. They think I'm stupid. They don't like me. They're judging me. But you have zero proof. 2. Catastrophizing. You turn small problems into disasters. One mistake becomes, "My life is over." One rejection becomes, "I'm not good enough." 3. Personalization. You make everything about you. Someone is in a bad mood? It must be because of me. No, sometimes people are just tired. Emotional people live inside these distortions. Mentally strong people question them. Instead of saying, "I feel disrespected," they ask, "What are the facts?" Instead of saying, "I feel like a failure," they ask, "What evidence proves that?" This is power, because when you separate feelings from facts, you stop overreacting to illusions. Here's a brutal truth. Your brain is wired for survival, not happiness. It looks for danger. It looks for threats. It looks for rejection. Why? Because thousands of years ago, rejection meant death. But today, a comment on social media is not a tiger. Yet your body reacts like it is. Heart racing, adrenaline rising, mind spinning. All because of a thought. And here's the part most people never realize. Thought, emotion, reaction, consequence. If you control the thought, you control the emotion. If you control the emotion, you control the outcome. Let me give you a simple technique. The next time you feel emotionally triggered, say this in your head. This is just a feeling, not a fact. Say it calmly. Repeat it. This is just a feeling, not a fact. That sentence creates space, and space creates power. Because in that space, you can choose logic over impulse. You can choose strength over drama. You can choose silence over destruction.
Understand this. Being emotional doesn't make you weak, but believing every emotion without questioning it does. Your emotions are signals, not commands. You don't have to obey every feeling. You are the leader of your mind. And leaders verify information before making decisions. From today, when you feel angry, ask, "What exactly happened?" When you feel insecure, ask, "What proof do I have?" When you feel rejected, ask, "Is this fact or fear?" That one habit will separate you from 90% of people who live controlled by their moods. Because calm people don't suppress emotions, they analyze them. And analysis turns chaos into clarity.
Shift 3. Master the 90-second rule. Here's something most people never learn. An emotion, chemically, only lasts about 90 seconds in your body. Yes, anger, fear, embarrassment, jealousy. The initial chemical surge, adrenaline, cortisol, moves through your system in roughly a minute and a half. After that, anything you continue feeling is the story you keep telling yourself. Let that sink in. You're not angry for hours. You're replaying the moment for hours. You're not hurt all day. You're mentally repeating the scene all day. The emotion hits. Then your mind keeps it alive. Picture this. Someone insults you. In the first few seconds, your heart rate increases. Your muscles tighten. Your brain prepares to fight. That's automatic. You can't stop the first wave. But you can stop the second one. The second wave is optional. It's created by thoughts like, "How dare they? I'll show them. This always happens to me." That's not chemistry anymore. That's ego. And ego is loud. The 90-second rule is simple. When triggered, do nothing for 90 seconds. No reply, no message, no decision, no post, no reaction. Just breathe. Slow inhale, slow exhale. Let the chemical storm pass. Because storms don't last forever, but the damage you cause during a storm can. Strong people don't control emotions by force. They control them by delay. Delay is power. When you delay your reaction, you interrupt the emotional chain. Trigger to reaction to regret becomes trigger to pause to clarity to decision. That pause is everything. Think about the worst arguments you've had, the messages you wish you never sent, the words you wish you never said, the decisions you regret. Most of them happened in under 2 minutes. 2 minutes of emotional blindness. And sometimes it takes years to repair what 2 minutes destroyed. That's why discipline in the moment is priceless. Here's a practical tool. When you feel triggered, silently count backward from 30. Slowly. Or step away physically. Change your environment. Walk. Drink water. Breathe deeply. You're not avoiding the issue. You're protecting your future self. Because the version of you 5 years from now doesn't care about winning an argument today. They care about reputation, opportunities, peace. Understand this clearly. Emotion gives you energy. Control gives you direction. Energy without direction is chaos. Direction without energy is weakness.
The goal isn't to remove emotion, it's to harness it. Use anger as fuel, not fire. Use fear as awareness, not paralysis. Use sadness as reflection, not identity. Emotion is like a spark. If you react instantly, you start a wildfire. If you control it, you start a controlled burn, powerful, useful, focused. The difference? Time. 90 seconds. That's it. That's the gap between emotional destruction and mental dominance. From today forward, promise yourself one thing. No important decision while emotional. No serious conversation while angry. No life-changing choice during fear. Give yourself 90 seconds. Then respond as the person you are becoming, not the person you used to be. And now we go deeper. Because even when you control the surge, there's something more dangerous hiding underneath. Your ego.
Shift 4. Detach your ego from situations. Now we go deeper. Because most emotional reactions are not about the situation. They're about your ego. Someone corrects you, you feel attacked. Someone disagrees, you feel disrespected. Someone ignores you, you feel rejected. But ask yourself honestly, what is actually hurt? Your safety or your pride? Most of the time, it's pride. Your ego is the voice that says, I must win, I must be right, I must prove myself, I can't let that slide. And because of that voice, you argue when silence would make you powerful. You respond when ignoring would make you untouchable. You fight battles that don't even matter. Ego turns small situations into emotional wars. But here's the truth strong people understand. Not everything deserves your reaction. Not every opinion deserves your defense. Not every insult deserves your energy. Emotional detachment does not mean you don't care. It means you choose what deserves your care. There's a difference. Weak ego says, if they disrespect me, I must react. Strong mind says, if they disrespect me, it reveals their character, not mine. That shift changes everything. Imagine two versions of you. Version 1. Someone criticizes you. You get defensive. You argue. You replay it in your mind all night. Version 2. Someone criticizes you. You pause. You ask, is there truth in this? If yes, improve. If no, ignore. Which one grows faster? Which one protects peace? Which one looks stronger? Calm detachment is intimidating. Because when you don't react emotionally, people lose power over you. And people only control what they can trigger. Let's be honest. Half of your emotional pain comes from wanting validation, wanting respect, wanting recognition, wanting approval. And when you don't get it, your ego screams. But real power is not needing applause. It's knowing your value without explanation. When you stop trying to prove yourself to everyone, you become dangerous. Because now your decisions are based on purpose, not pride. Here's a powerful mental exercise. Before reacting, ask yourself, will this matter in 5 years? If the answer is no, why are you giving it 5 hours of your peace? Most arguments are temporary. Most insults are forgettable. Most opinions are irrelevant. But when your ego is attached, everything feels personal. Detachment gives you perspective, and perspective gives you control. Strong people don't take everything personally. They understand this. People speak from their level of awareness. If someone is angry, negative, or disrespectful, that's their internal state showing. It's not about you. But emotional people absorb everything like a sponge. They carry words for days. They replay scenes for weeks. They let one comment ruin their mood. That's ego attachment, and it's exhausting. Imagine walking into a room with complete emotional independence. No need to impress, no need to dominate, no need to prove. Just calm presence. That kind of energy is rare, and rare energy commands respect. Because emotional stability is attractive. It signals maturity, confidence, leadership. From today, practice this mindset. I choose peace over proving a point. Say it again. I choose peace over proving a point. Not every argument needs your voice. Sometimes silence is the loudest statement. Sometimes walking away is the strongest move. Sometimes not reacting is the ultimate flex. And now we reach the final step. Because emotional control is not built in one moment. It's trained daily. Shift 5. Train your mind like a warrior. Now listen carefully. Everything we talked about means nothing if you don't train it daily. Emotional control is not a talent, it's conditioning. Just like muscles grow with resistance, mental strength grows with emotional resistance. And most people avoid resistance. They avoid discomfort. They avoid criticism. They avoid silence. They avoid being alone with their thoughts. That's why they stay emotionally weak. Warriors are not born calm. They are trained calm. A soldier doesn't stay composed in chaos by accident. He trains in stress, so stress doesn't control him. You must do the same with your mind, because life will test you. People will disrespect you. Plans will fail. Opportunities will disappear. Unexpected problems will show up. If you don't train your emotional control before the storm will expose you. Here's how you train like a warrior. 1. Practice delayed reaction daily. When someone annoys you, pause. When you want to interrupt, listen fully. When you want to argue, lower your voice instead. Small daily moments are your training ground. You don't build discipline in big situations, you build it in small ones. 2. Do hard things on purpose. Cold showers, waking up early, finishing what you start, working when you don't feel like it. Why? Because emotional people act based on feelings. Warriors act based on decisions. When you train yourself to move even when you don't feel like it, you weaken the control of emotion over action, and that changes your identity. 3. Strengthen self-awareness. At the end of each day, ask yourself, where did I react emotionally today? How could I have responded better? No guilt, no self-hate, just analysis. Calm reflection builds calm behavior. You can't fix what you don't observe. 4. Protect your mental environment. What you consume shapes your emotions. Negative conversations, drama content, constant comparison. They train your brain to stay reactive. Instead, feed your mind with growth. Books, silence, purpose-driven work. Calm input creates calm output. And here's the most powerful shift of all. Stop identifying as an emotional person. Identity drives behavior. If you say, "That's just how I am, I'm emotional," your brain will protect that identity. Instead, say, "I am learning emotional mastery." Now your brain works toward control. You become what you repeatedly tell yourself you are. Understand this clearly. The goal is not to become cold. The goal is to become controlled. Not heartless, but disciplined. Not emotionless, but powerful. Not reactive, but strategic. Emotion is energy, but discipline is direction. When you combine both, you become unstoppable. Imagine a version of you who cannot be easily triggered, thinks before speaking, chooses peace over ego, acts based on logic, not mood, walks into chaos and stays calm. That version of you already exists, but it needs training. And training requires commitment. So from today, pause before reacting, question your feelings, wait 90 seconds, detach your ego, train daily. Do this for 30 days, and people will say, "You've changed," and they'll be right. Because you stopped being controlled by emotion and started leading it. This is how emotional people stay average and disciplined people build empires. Now the question is, which one are you becoming?